Welcome to the newest episode of Beyond the Fame with Jason Fraley. I'm your host, Jason Fraley, picking the brains of the top filmmakers, musicians, and artists of our time. The inaugural Because They're Funny Comedy Festival premieres this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at the Wharf in Washington, D.C. I spoke with founder Jeff Friday about his mission to diversify entertainment since launching the Black American Film Festival and Black Movie Awards, now known as the ABFF Honors.
My name is Jeff Friday, and I'm the producer of the Because They're Funny Comedy Festival.
It's going to be coming to the Wharf there on the waterfront in D.C. on October 6th through 8th. Hey, thank you so much for joining us.
It's a pleasure to be here. I'm excited. We're a week away, and I could not be more excited about being in town.
Awesome. All right, so when you pull up the website, one of the big taglines at the top says, quote, showcasing comedians of color. So talk about why that's such an important mission statement in the creation of this thing.
Great question, Jason. So our company is called Nice Crowd. And what we're most well known for is the American Black Film Festival, which started 28 years ago. And so although we're a live event company, we call ourselves an event company that does purposeful work in entertainment. So our whole mission is about diversifying the entertainment landscape. So we've been doing it for film and TV for almost 3 decades, and now we're going to do it for comedy. And what we want to do is we want to see Black and brown comics get as much opportunity as their mainstream counterparts, and this festival is going to do that.
Awesome. So is this the first year that you've ever had it?
This is the first year. We've had it what we call in the lab cooking up for about 5 years now. One of the cool things about our film fest is in the early days, 20 plus years ago, we would always have a comedy night, and we would invite young comics to come and perform. And some of those young comics are people like Tommy Davidson and Kevin Hart and JB Smoove and D.L. Hughley, who were just starting out many, many years ago. So we really do have a pedigree and legacy at helping I wouldn't say break new comics, but helping new comics get a really large platform. And like I said, we've been talking about this for 5 years, and we're partnering with Events DC, and this is the very first one. And as you can hear, I am ready to roll, man.
Awesome. Well, before we get into the lineup, because it looks awesome, I want to follow up on something you said about, those early shows you were hosting with Tommy Davidson, Kevin Hart, etc. Were those in DC, or where are you talking about?
No, those were in Miami.
Okay.
Our film festival's in Miami Beach.
Right.
So those were back in years ago when we were just starting back in Miami Beach.
And that started in what, 97, I guess?
Started in 1997, 28 years ago. It's kind of shocking I'm even saying it, but
I'm a huge film guy. So speak to the festival really quick again. Like, haven't you had like Antoine Fuqua and Common, and you've had a bunch of people sing his praises?
Yeah, just think of a person, like the very first person that accepted. When I decided to do this in 97, we started in Acapulco, Mexico, before we came to Miami. And the very first person I called who said yes was Halle Berry. So that's how far we go back. And Halle Berry and John Singleton, before he passed, had never missed a festival. And Spike Lee and Fuqua and F. Gary Gray and Common and Idris Elba, Regina King and Taraji P. Like every Black star right now, just about everyone has.
Did Denzel do it?
Denzel came the very first year. He didn't come. He came the second year in 1998. And to be honest with you, I always, when I see him, I credit him with making us popular, because the year that he came is the year that it became really hot. And because I guess if it's good enough for Denzel, it's good enough for everybody, right? And and more recently, people like Issa Rae, who and one of our young director winners. We have a emerging director competition every year, and about 11 years ago, this gentleman named Ryan Coogler, who happened to direct Black Panther, was that winner. So our film festival is really responsible for showcasing the work of almost everyone who we know and love in film and TV. And the model is, I'm glad you asked that question, Jason, because what's the aspiration for comedy? The same thing. We are looking to have 20 years from now, if we're around, we're looking to have like, oh wow, so-and-so got their start at BTF in DC back in 2023. So we're just replicating what we've done already for film and TV. We're just replicating that for comedy. We're doing that in your backyard, and I'm sure it's just going to be amazing, man.
I love it, and I'm assuming that Coogler film was it Fruitvale Station? when he was
No,
there?
no, we're no way before that. So Ryan Coogler, his first short film was a film called Fig, and
Okay.
he had just graduated from USC's film school. And I think it's actually called the HBO Short Film Competition, and he won that thing based on like an 11-minute short film called Fig,
Wow.
and won 40,000. I gave him a $40,000 check, and basically when he won that year, he gave me a script for a film. His next film, it was called Fruitvale Station. So you are a film guy,
Well,
but
that was like a masterpiece, and that was like
I remember
his Sundance breakout. Yeah.
yeah, I remember reading that script back in 2012, I think it was. I said, "Wow, that's a really good movie." So, yeah, no,
Wow.
you
So
really are you're film guy.
your $40,000 check. We could say launched the $1 billion
I
Creed and
won't
Black Panther, right?
I won't say that, but here's what it did.
I'm saying it, baby.
No, you can say it. I won't. It gave him some financial freedom to focus on building his career, and he says it too.
Yeah.
It gave him some financial freedom to really focus on becoming who he's become, and who he rightly deserves to be in this space. So no, we were there with him, and there are a lot of other people. Ryan's might be the biggest name, but there are a lot of other young filmmakers who've done things that like the guy there's a film out about Serena's, I think it was called King Richard.
Yeah, of
about
course.
Serena Williams and her father's story. The young guy who did that film won that competition the year after Ryan did. So, and there's a film called Transformers and Creed 2. There's another guy named Stephen Caples Jr. who won the year after that. So we've had an incredible run of successful young directors who went on to do big budget movies out of our film fest.
Oh yeah, and for King Richard, you talking Ronaldo Marcus Green?
Yeah. Oh, come on, Jason. Come on.
I like how humble you are. There's a film that won Will Smith his Oscar, King Richard. You might have heard of it.
I'm surprised you know these people. I'm giving up to you, man. I would have said it, but I didn't think you knew these guys.
So are you kidding me? I love this stuff. All right, well, we could sidetrack all day. We got to get to the comedy festival. Anyway, no, but actually, I think it's a good way to set it up, because we're showing the power of what your film festival did for these up and coming filmmakers, and now what this first annual, hopefully, comedy festival will maybe do for these comedians. So that's how we'll kind of tie it in. All right. So
that's exactly the point. Yeah.
Why was DC and especially the Wharf like the perfect spot for it?
I'm actually from New Jersey and live in California, but I went to Howard, number one. I'm a Howard University alum.
Okay.
And I've always been in love with DC since I was in undergrad. And we partnered with Events DC, which is run by Angie Gates, who you probably know. And she just took over, I think, in December of 2022. And we've been talking about bringing a big event that would bring some tourism and bring some entertainment focus to DC. And to their credit, they had a vision for it. I was going to do it in another city, and they said absolutely not. And I got to give all the credit to Angie and the Events DC team for making sure that we were there. They invited me in. I was not familiar with the Wharf. Incredible, as you well know. We fell in love with it. I really did see it as the perfect kind of a landing spot or kind of epicenter of how a festival works. And we do big festivals around the world, and they really do start with having the right destination. If your destination's wrong, the festival's going to be tough to do. So the support of Events DC, the Wharf, my love for DC, back to my undergraduate roots. And there's one other thing. DC has an amazing legacy of comedy. DC has an amazing, particularly comedians of color, Martin and Wanda Sykes and Dave Chappelle and blah, blah, blah. So there
Tommy Davidson, as you mentioned.
Tommy Davidson, who we have, and Donnell Rollins and a bunch of other people. So
Tony Woods, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. So there's really no reason not to do it. You think about the legacy, the Wharf, and the whole thing. So it's a perfect place. And it just kind of all believe it or not, this all came together over Christmas holiday last year. This all happened in a 3-week window. And it's just the best place, and I couldn't be more excited to be there.
I love it. All right, well, let's go into the lineup a little bit. And I know it's 3 days, October 6th, 7th, and 8th. So don't feel like you have to rattle it all off at once. Let's tee them up individually. We'll go day by day. All right. So what are some highlights on the opening day on October 6th there at the Anthem?
Yep. So October 6th, we start out with the reason that we're there in the first place. It is to break new comics. And I'm glad you asked me about the film legacy, because this now makes sense to your listeners. So we're kicking off with the Breakout Comedian of the Year competition, which is kind of our comedy version of American Idol. We had about 400 submissions from around the country. The criteria, you had to be, Black, Indigenous, BIPOC comedians. We had about 400 comedians submit. We had a semifinal round in Los Angeles, and we're bringing the top 6 to DC who are competing on opening night for $20,000. The winner gets $20,000 and gets signed by innovative artist talent agencies out of Hollywood. So the winner is going to have $20,000 and an agent, which hopefully will launch them to the big career. It's going to be hosted by one of our favorite guys, DC Young Fly. So that's the first night. Breakout Comedian of the Year, hosted by DC Young Fly. At the end of that night, we'll know who the next big name in the comedy game is. And a part of our legacy is we're going to make sure that person keeps working. Day 2, we have a really cool event. We have a screening at Union Stage of a political documentary called In Amanda We Trust by comedian Amanda Seales, who's going to be there for her screening and a talkback. That's at 1:30 in the afternoon at Union Stage. And then later that afternoon, we have a panel called Socially Funny. We brought together 3 of the top social media influencers who happen to be comics, B. Simone, HaHa Davis, and Kev on Stage. I think collectively they have about 15 million followers on IG and Instagram. So that it's a panel discussion and really talking about how they built their empire as comics who got their start on social media platforms. And that's called Socially Funny. That's at 4:30 at Union Stage. And then that night, back at the Anthem, we have our Hey Ladies Fierce Female Comedy Show. And that's a grown and sexy comedy show. It's going to be hosted by Tashina Arnold. We've got Lunel on that lineup, Ida Rodriguez, Ego Woden, and who's the last person we have on that? Somebody help me out.
Nicole Byer, did you say?
Nicole Byer. How in the world could I forget Nicole Byer? So we've got that lineup there. That's Saturday night. And then Sunday, we have a screening again at Union Stage of a documentary film called The Mecca of Comedy, which a good friend of mine directed. Parrish Smith is a local filmmaker out of DC. He directed a documentary about the history of Black comedy in the DMV area. And the film's called The Mecca of Comedy. And we're going to be doing the DC premiere of that movie at Union Stage at 5:00 on
now.
Sunday.
Does that have interviews with Wanda Sykes and Donnell and Tom Rollins and Tommy Day, all that? Everyone we mentioned.
Yep, they're all in that movie. But the one thing about that movie actually inspired our closing night show. That movie really, because I kind of knew the stories about the people. I knew the people that come out of DC, like Martin and others. I never knew what inspired the stories and who they looked up to. Like, who did Dave Chappelle look up to as he was coming up as a young comic in DC? So that movie really does fill in the gaps of how we got to the Wandas and the Martins and the Dave Chappelles in the world. But it's about a 90-minute doc. First time it's playing in DC, which is going to be really cool. Like I said, that's at 5:00 at the Union Stage. And then the big show is Sunday night at 8:30 back at the Anthem. We have the DMV Black Comedy Homecoming Show. And that show I'm really excited about because we're reuniting some of those top names. Pierre, Joe Claire, Donnell Rollins, Tommy Davidson, and Red Grant. That night's going to be hosted by Yvonne Orji, who is an incredible young comic, and she's also starred Insecure with Issa Rae, for those who don't know. And she's from the DMV area. Most people don't know that Yvonne is even from the area. So that night we've got 7 amazing comics on that lineup. We're also reuniting a lot of comics, what I call some of the OGs in Black comedy that have come up through the years, and they'll also be in the house. We got a special surprise in the show. So the DMV Homecoming is going to be a big night, and that's our final event of the festival.
Awesome. And I love the way that you're kind of doing it as a 1-2 punch there, where we get to watch the Mecca of Comedy documentary at 5:00, learn the backstory and the history of all these comics, that we will then go over to the Anthem and see them actually perform their latest, greatest material. That's kind of a cool way to set it up. That was by
design. Yeah, absolutely. Yep, you learn it and then you see it. And then the other thing is a lot of the people, I just think, the Sunday night, the DMV Homecoming Show is really like, this is one that could have been on a television special. Right. Like the idea of celebrating Black comics from the whole DMV area, and then having a smaller group of them perform. Had we been thinking about this, could have been something that we could have like as a broadcast television show. Maybe we'll do it again, do something like it another time. But that Sunday night the show's selling out, and it's going to be fantastic.
Awesome. That's a big way to end it for sure. And then in addition to the actual performances and the documentaries and stuff that you're talking about, aren't there also going to be sprinkled in throughout the 3 days some like comedy workshops? If there's any up and coming comedians or aspiring comedians, they can kind of learn how to do it, right?
Yeah. So we can't just have fun. We got to bring some substance to the style and sizzle. So on Saturday afternoon, we have a breaking into sketch comedy workshop led by comedian instructor Isaiah Hedden. That's going to be at Pearl Street Warehouse. That's Saturday at noon. And then on Sunday at noon, we have a improv comedy workshop led by Cypher Sounds. So Saturday, you can learn how to kind of a sketch comedy one-on-one class. And then on Sunday, you've got an improv comedy. So like I said, we're bringing substance and sizzle entertainment, but we really do want to commit to giving people, particularly younger people, resources to learn and to break into the business. And then to top it all off, in the evenings, we have live music. We call it the live music lounge at Pearl Street Warehouse every night, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, starting at 10:30. We brought in some really cool local bands who'll be doing a lot. Some R&B, some go-go, some pop, but so just really full days, 3 days in a row, and we got just about everything. It's just something for everyone.
Totally. And shout out to Isaiah because we've talked to him before. He at the DC Improv, he does that Bad Medicine comedy troupe. So that'll be cool.
Yep, he does that. In fact, I got to shout out to DC Improv because they've been very supportive. My man Antoine over there has been super supportive, and they're one of our programming partners, and they're actually going to program one of our late night comedy shows on Saturday night. So shout out to the DC Improv.
Awesome. For sure. It's a staple of this town. Awesome. Well, before we run, didn't you also do like the Black Movie Awards that was televised for, like, do you still do that?
Yeah, man, I'm going to bring you to LA with us. We do that. That was a big, so I've been doing, different entertainment shows, my wife and I, festivals and award shows. The Black Movie Awards was on several years ago on TNT. It's now changed names. It's now called ABFF Honors, American Black Film Festival Honors. Okay. And that happens in February out in Beverly Hills. But no, we're still doing that, man. And we've honored just about everyone you can think of. In fact, the very last show, we had a really cool moment. We honored Jamie Foxx, and then Leonardo DiCaprio came out, and the place went crazy. So
whoa,
we've gotten just about everybody you could think of on that stage, and that is one of our, like I said, our company's called Nice Crowd. That's one of our special events that we do throughout the year. And we even have, and Jason, I'm going to get you on this one because you can't know about this. We even do a ABFF London. We have a film festival in London that's in first week of September every year. So we are branching out all over the world, and we're going to Paris potentially next year. And really, again, like I said, the mission is the same, just to really promote diverse entertainment, but we do it in such a cool, high profile way that it doesn't feel like we're doing diversity work, but we just want to make sure that people of color just have a chance to showcase their talents outside, around the world and outside of sports and music.
It's such an important cause because you genuinely think back over the last, I don't know, 100-some years of movie making of how many of the greatest movies were never even made because folks didn't even have a chance to make them. And now we're finally making some inroads, hopefully, thanks to folks like you.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. That's exactly the point. Thank you.
And it's the American Black Film Festival, not to be confused with the Black Reel Awards. Our buddy Tim Gordon here in town, he's been doing that for years. But rising tide raises all boats. You can't have too many of these things, and those are the two big ones that I can think of. So
you can't, and we have to support each other. You cannot have enough people who fighting for diversity in entertainment.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate you just taking so much. We talked longer than I even thought we would. This is amazing. I could talk to you all day. So everyone check out Nice Crowd, the company behind all this. Shout out Events DC and everyone putting this on. It's called Because They're Funny Comedy Festival. Love the name.
Yep. Thank you, man. I credit my wife for the name. I got to shout out General Motors, is one of our sponsors. And I'll tell you, best interview ever, Jason. This is the most informed. You're the most informed person that I've spoken to, and I've had hundreds of interviews over the years, maybe 500 of these. and I haven't enjoyed anyone more than this. So thank you so much for your interest in what we do.
Well, it takes two to tango. Thanks so much. Again, everyone, Because They're Funny Comedy Fest, October 6th through 8th at the Wharf. Get your tickets now, becausethey'refunny.com. Appreciate it.
Okay, man, I'll see you there.
Thanks so much for listening to Beyond the Fame with Jason Fraley. Our theme music is Scott Buckley's Clarion. Remember to give us a 5-star rating if you like what you hear. We'll see you next time.